What's going on, everybody? Z4 here. We are back here with what I think will be the last video for today. We'll hold off, unless like Earl Thomas or Le'Veon go tonight, which I don't, usually things start to wind down just a little bit. But this is a little bit of Philadelphia Eagles news. First off, they're letting Stefan Wisniewski, the interior guard, walk, which is frees up about $3 million in salary cap, which is nice considering the money that we already spent today in Mr. Malik Jackson, which is a very nice get for our offense. And then, we had to say goodbye to Mr. Nick Foles, which was sad, but we also got to bring back Jason Peters, which was good. And to continue that reuniting tour of nostalgia, we have traded a 6th-round pick in 2019 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for DeSean Jackson and a 2020 7th-round pick. So literally getting pennies on the dollar for still, even at 32, statistically speaking, for yards per catch, the best deep threat in the National Football League, who, all you gotta look is what DeSean Jackson did with those Bucs, with goddamn Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback to our Philadelphia Eagles last year in week 2 of the regular season. And, even if you need to go back a little bit further, it always just felt like DeSean Jackson, for the most part, was owning us when he was a member of the Washington Redskins, and we'd have to play him 2 times a year. So, it wasn't a great split up. We got to be completely honest with each other, with everyone in the organization. The way that Chip Kelly got rid of DeSean Jackson was in a bad period. We just let, it was in that, 2-year period where, Evan Mathis walked for nothing, didn't have a replacement. DeSean Jackson walked for nothing, didn't have a replacement. LeSean McCoy walked for nothing, didn't have a replacement. So it was a frustrating time to be a Philadelphia Eagle fan. And, DeSean Jackson, gang ties and everything, was still able to have a productive career beyond Philadelphia. And now, I saw someone put this on Twitter. We're kind of righting a wrong within the franchise history. I think it is. Still, DeSean Jackson, still to this day, is one of my favorite Eagles of all time. The miracle at the New Meadowlands is the greatest play I've ever seen. I still rank that higher than any play for the Super Bowl, because we're just putting on a pure play basis. I remember that game. That game was done and over. I was working on an assignment. I think I was in high school. That was my first year of college, I think. And I was like, oh my God, I might as well just start working on this paper because the Eagles are done. They're getting absolutely smoked by the New York Giants. And then they start to come back, just Michael Vick hitting with DeSean Jackson. That was a lethal combination. And then the punt return, that was, oh my God, man, I'll never forget that play, man. That was so awesome. It is awesome that we have DeSean Jackson. Hey, one of my jerseys that I thought was absolutely useless can now come out the wall. We got to put up the framed Nick Foles Super Bowl jersey, but we can bring down that retro DeSean Jackson because he's now a member of the team. When you look at it from the Philadelphia Eagles, they were able to restructure. I think he's now getting a 3-year, $27 million deal with only 13 of that guaranteed, which you better believe he's probably going to get, close to 10 of that. I would say between 8 and 10 of that guaranteed next season. So there's going to be, if he truly has declined, hits that wall, which we didn't see any shades of that at all last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that, Howie Roseman, being the wizard of a GM that he has structured the deal. So they're, just in case, at 33, maybe that's when DeSean Jackson starts to lose a step. We can get out of his contract next year. But for the time being, looking at what kind of player that we are getting, we needed that. We needed that outside wide receiver that brought a lot of speed. We thought that was going to be Mike Wallace last year, but unfortunately broke his leg. We never got to see that happen. We've been lacking a lot of speed on the offensive side of the ball. We're kind of hoping maybe Mac Hollins can be that guy. I mean, Mac Hollins, 6'3", 6'4", had high 4.4 speed. But, again, another guy just doesn't have the background yet in the NFL to say that, we can feel somewhat comfortable putting him on the outside. So bringing in a guy like DeSean Jackson is a huge get for this Philadelphia Eagles offense. You get the nostalgia, but you take the nostalgia out of it. We needed a burner. We needed a speed threat wide receiver. Now we still might have something in Matt Collins. Yeah, he brings some speed. Maybe in the draft, I think the value of wide receiver in this year's draft is going to be day 2. Somewhere between the 2nd, 3rd, and then maybe creeping into the 4th round. That's where you're going to be able to get. There's going to be lots of speed there where Philadelphia can look at bringing in another wide receiver. We could look at Emmanuel Hall from Missouri, Paris Campbell, Ohio State, McCole Hardman from Georgia, Terry McLaurin, Ohio State, Darius Slayton from Auburn. You got Miles Boykin from Notre Dame, Gary Jennings, West Virginia. All these guys posted pretty damn good 40-yard dashes and will most likely be available in that range. So there is some speed. Even Stanley Morgan from Nebraska, one of my sleeper wide receivers, Yeah, 4.5s, which, it's still pretty good considering we haven't had a lot of speed. I would like to argue that if you put the entire 53 across all 32 teams, Philly would probably be one of the slower teams out of all that position. We have like the fastest offensive lineman in Lane Johnson, and outside of that, we don't got a whole lot of speed on this team. So bringing back DeSean Jackson, even at his age, you could be a little bit worried about the overall age of some of these players that we're getting. Malik Jackson's 29, about to be 30. DeSean Jackson's 32. Alshon Jeffrey's 29. You brought back Jason Peters. He's going to be, 37. Jason Kelsey's getting, but look at the Patriots, for example. Patriots, as much as it's annoying to always talk about the Patriots or find a way to bring up the Patriots, they value veteran players. As long as they're not greedy veteran players, as long as they're still worth an appropriate value, Patriots aren't a team that wins the Super Bowl with a bunch of guys that are in their, sub 25 working on rookie deals. They find a way to get veterans and maximize their talent. And that's the way that works. That's what works in the NFL. You're seeing all these teams that aren't signing players, that are too hesitant to sign any players because they're not 25, 24, 25, 26, coming out that rookie deal. But it's the teams that sign the veterans continually, teams that trade away, late day 3 picks to bring some veteran players that consistently win. And that's the approach that Philadelphia is showing so far. I mean, with Nick Foles gone, helps the salary cap out a little bit. It seems like DeSean Jackson's deal, like if you just look at what he's making in Tampa, he's going to be making less than Philly, less of a cap hit. So that kind of helps. Jason Peters going to take less of a cap hit, which kind of helps. So, I mean, does it mean that Philly's done in free agency? I wouldn't be surprised to see them try to land a linebacker of some sort. I mean, looking at who's still available at linebacker, I don't see any cheap options. Like I said, best case scenario is Jordan Hicks tests the market. It's not really what he wants, and he comes back to Philly on a prove-it deal. But then seeing what Quan Alexander gets, seeing what massive deal that C.J. Mosley is most likely going to get, it's probably going to have to be someone else, like an underrated guy. You got Deon Buchanan and Josh Bynes, both graded out pretty well from Pro Football Focus from the Cardinals. They're doing a scheme change, so could be able to work that in. Maybe KJ Wright on a veteran deal. See if you could slide him in. Brandon Marshall just recently got released from the Denver Broncos. That's a potential option. Jamie Collins, wouldn't rule that out for these guys that might want to start chasing some rings. I mean, less so in Jamie Collins' case because he was there with the Patriots. But I feel like linebacker, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe running back. I mean, looking at the names that are still available, Le'Veon, get that. That's not going to happen with Le'Veon Bell. But when you look at the second tier of running backs, I mean, there's some guys. I think it's still better spent getting running back in the draft. But I mean, Jai could come back on an affordable deal. Alex Collins just got released, has some out the field, but he was productive. CJ Anderson could make some sense. I think Tevin Coleman's probably going to be too expensive. I think when you look at a guy like Tevin Coleman, once Le'Veon Bell signs, there's going to be a rush to sign that second-tier guy. Same kind of goes with TJ Yeldon. I think his market's going to be a little too pricey for the Philadelphia Eagles. Same with Mark Ingram, guys like that. But, I mean, they're doing smart. So far, everything they've done in free agency has been smart. I've agreed. There's nothing that I am just thinking that's absolutely outrageous that we need to go back on. And we're setting ourselves up to be able to address whatever remaining needs are left in the draft. But I'm telling you right now, I just try to do a quick Eagles mock draft, understanding that I have kind of been feeling Christian Wilkins at 25. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case now. I have no idea who Philly's going to pick at 25 right now at the top of my head. But, hey, ultimately, for this video, for the sake of this video, DeSean Jackson is back with the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that's pretty much gonna make most fans incredibly happy. I think that if you are a fan that usually buys a bunch of jerseys, you probably have a DeSean Jackson jersey somewhere. Hell, you might have stayed wearing your DeSean Jackson jersey, while he's on the Redskins and while he was on the Bucs, just because it's DeSean Jackson. Again, we're talking about Eagles legends with Nick Foles going on to Jacksonville, and they better treat him right. Well, I think ultimately DeSean Jackson is a Philadelphia Eagle legend, and I'm glad that he can come back. I hope it's more than 1 year, though. I hope we can get like 2 years of production out of him. But if we only get 1 year, if this is going to be his last hurrah, I mean, he is the kind of weapon that can complete our offense. He's a weapon that definitely the huge cannon arm of Carson Wentz is going to be able to utilize. And I'm very excited to have him back here today. So what do you guys think, Eagle fans in particular, about Mr. DeSean Jackson, Jackpot himself returning back to the Philadelphia Eagles? Finally, starting to right the wrongs of the Chip Kelly. Hey, just watch. We saw the Bills sign Frank Gore. Just watch, LeSean McCoy surprisingly get cut, and Philly tries to find a way to bring him back. Reunite the gang. I don't know. But like I said, guys, this is probably the last video, so I'm going to give your sub boxes a little bit of a break, barring a big free agency sign. I mean, looking at who's left, it's pretty much Earl Thomas, C.J. Mosley, Le'Veon Bell. That's probably the only guys that are going to be worth making a video off the bat. And then you get your second here, like Tevin Coleman, Honey Badger. Anthony Barr, Ronald Darby, Jordan Hicks, Adrian Amos, Jay Jai. Like, they probably won't get 50, but they might. I don't know yet, just because, some of these guys with Eagles background, maybe people want to be looking out and getting Eagles fans' honest opinion if they go to their favorite team. But, obviously, the first little frenzy that we had today is probably not going to carry over the next days. Plus, I got a rebuild, hopefully coming out tomorrow, new rebuild series. But I already said this on Twitter. Best thing right now about free agent frenzies. Hey, I know for the fact that for content, get day or two. It's a little vacation from having to sit down here and play Madden, so that's always refreshing. So thank you guys for sticking through it, and until something big happens again, they'll be the last you hear of me about free agency. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. Until next time, it's C4 saying peace out and welcome back, DJax. Fly, Eagles, fly.